Before there was light, there was a wound that had not yet been opened. Before heaven had height, before earth had weight, before the stars were pinned like trophies above the night, there was only the deep, and the deep had a name, Tiamat. She was not a monster in the beginning. She was the beginning. She was the pressure beneath all things, the black tide before the moon, the mother whose flesh had not yet been divided into sky and sea and soil. In her, all forms slept unseparated, storm and blood, beast and star, birth and ruin. Nothing had a name, because nothing yet had to obey one. She was the first vastness, the first silence, the first power that did not need a throne because all things already rested inside her. And from that living abyss came the first gods. They rose from her like sparks from a buried fire, young and brilliant and loud. They learned motion, then voice. They learned hunger, then ambition. They learned that to exist was not enough. They wanted rank. They wanted inheritance. They wanted a world they could measure, govern, divide, and name as their own. Among them was Apsu, ancient and deep, who longed for stillness. Among them was Ea, sharp-minded and patient, whose wisdom moved like a hidden blade beneath calm water. And after them, like the storm arriving after the omen, came Marduk, radiant and terrible, the young god with lightning in his hand, an empire already sleeping behind his eyes. Then came Kingu, not first among gods, but chosen among them, raised beside Tiamat, marked by loyalty, crowned by crisis. He wore destiny not like glory, but like a sentence. The younger gods multiplied, and with them came noise. Not sound alone, but disruption. The old vastness trembled beneath the restlessness of new minds. The first generation had known what it meant to belong to creation. The younger ones wanted creation to belong to them. That was the fracture. Not war, not yet. First came refusal. The deep would not kneel to what it had birthed. So the younger gods did what power always does when it meets something older, greater, and beyond its control. They named it a threat. They called Tiamat chaos because they could not command her. They called themselves order because conquest sounds holier when dressed in clean language. And from that lie, the first politics of heaven were born. Apsu moved first, seeking silence through destruction. But Ea was quicker. Cunning met age, and age fell. One old power was buried by another, and from that first overthrow, the younger gods learned a fatal truth. Divinity could bleed and power could change hands. Then Marduk rose higher. He did not rage. He did not plead. He offered terms. He would face Tiamat. He would break the ancient deep. He would do what none of them dared. But in return, he would not merely win the war. He would rule what came after it. And the gods agreed. That is how creation truly begins in the dark versions of every story. Not with wonder, with a bargain. Tiamat saw what was coming. She saw children becoming rulers and rulers becoming butchers. She saw the old order cornered inside its own body. So she did what every hunted power must do when mercy has already failed. She armed herself. Around her gathered the feared and the forsaken, the war-born, the fang-crowned, the venomous, the immense. At her side stood Kingu, burdened now with the tablet of destinies, lifted up as champion beneath a sky already turning against him. He did not stand there as a conqueror. He stood there as the last vow made to a dying age. Then the heavens split with a storm. Marduk came clothed in wind and decree, carrying not just weapons, but permission. That made him more dangerous than wrath. Wrath burns hot and passes, permission hardens into law. What followed was not a duel sung by noble mouths. It was not beautiful. It was not clean. It was the first great act of sacred violence. The moment power stopped asking to be born and decided instead to seize the birthright of the world. The storm god cast his net. The deep rose against him. Lightning clawed through black waters. The first mother roared, and creation shook before it had even taken shape. Tiamat, vast and furious, moved like the sea, remembering it owed nothing to the shore. Marduk answered with precision, with wind forced into a weapon. with the cold certainty of a god who had already decided that victory would be called virtue. And when he struck, he did not merely kill, he made use of her. That is the truth at the heart of this story. The world was not dreamed into being, it was taken. From the fallen deep came structure. From the defeated vastness came boundary. What had once been living mystery became mapped horizon. What had once held all things within it was broken into above and below, into distance and division, into a heaven that could be ruled and an earth that could be owned. Creation was not the opposite of destruction. Creation was destruction, given architecture. Kingu fell after because doomed loyalties always fall after their cause. The tablet of destinies was torn from the hands that never truly possessed it, and fate itself was rewritten by the victors. The names of the dead became warnings. The names of the triumphant became law, and myth began its oldest labor, washing blood until it gleamed like destiny. Then came humanity, not as the crown of a perfect design, but as the inheritor of its cost. Born into a world already arranged, already named, already built from conquest and called order. Given breath in the shadow of divine violence. Given memory enough to fear the sky and worship the throne above it. Given just enough wonder to love the world, and almost never enough truth to ask what the world was made from. But the truth remains. It sleeps under every kingdom, under every altar, under every story that calls power holy because it won. The sea remembers, the dark remembers, and creation remembers. This was creation in the old Mesopotamian telling. The gods above, the world below, and under both, the silence of the first mother, the earth mother, Tiamat. And every time the powerful call domination peace, her name rises with the tide. Remember this. The world was not spoken into order. It was torn into shape. In this creation story, the world was not made innocent. It was made to forget.